Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we are going to be mapping out Bitcoin and Ethereum and then also analyzing the Bitcoin dominance so that we know exactly the direction the market is about to take. If we're about to see another big drop in price, all of our indices are going to be showing a major warning sign. I'm going to be breaking down all of these charts that in my opinion are the most valuable to dictate where the direction of Bitcoin is headed. And then we're going to be finishing this video by giving you guys one of my favorite gaming altcoins heading into this next bull run. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now here we are to start off today's video. We're going to touch up on some of the things that I talked about in my last update because it kind of goes along with what we're seeing today. Now as you guys know, we've had a lot of the same analysis for a long period of time at this point, and I'm continuing to stick to that same analysis, and all we've really been doing is playing this range. We have the support range coming down here at about 26.1 or 2, and then we've got our resistance coming up here at about 29,000 to 29.2 as well. Now inside of this range, we've basically been ping-ponging back and forth, and over the last month, or really over the last couple weeks I should say, we've had a couple different attempts at a breakdown, and really we've had 3 different attempts at a breakdown, and every single time we kind of peaked below this level or right at this level, we instantly got a buyback. That happened here, that happened here, that happened here. But the problem is, every single time that we've made an attempt at a breakdown of this, even though we've seen an upswing in price, most recently we saw this attempt at a breakdown, we broke back up, but on this move we ultimately rejected below our resistance level being over in here inside of this mid-range point. We pretty much just rejected straight off of it. So as it stands, you know, the market didn't hold support as we needed it to, and we've actually fallen back below this resistance. And so if we're playing this based off of a range, we're below the support range and it's now acting as resistance. And so if any of these moves were going to set up for a big drop, in my opinion, it's going to be this one right here, because if you look at it, we can see that we have a number of attempts and they're all closing right below this resistance. This is closing, this is closing, this is closing. So we've not only had a breakdown from this level, but notice how this breakdown instantly got bought up, this breakdown instantly got bought up, this breakdown instantly got bought up. But most recently, this dip that we're seeing, every single time we hit this resistance and the low end of our support, we're closing below and it's acting as resistance. So as it stands, the way that this market structure looks, I am leaning towards this breaking down in the short term, but we have to really just keep a note that in the same way that every single time we hit this level over the last 3 attempts, it's produced a bounce. And so with us now closing below this, you know, obviously the risk is a lot higher because this would most likely assume to continue to the downside. And if we are to see continuation of the downside, then my target at basically 24,000 comes into effect. And this is the level that I've been watching if in fact we are to see more downside. Now this level is going to be taking us back to the August highs. It's also going to be taking us to around January and February that we spent consolidating before this breakout, and I think that this will be the time where we finally get the retest of that level. Now I don't know whether that's going to be the completion of the total correction or whether we still have more consolidation, but that's kind of what I'm watching for in the short term. What I've been updating you guys with very closely has been this range, and so with us now closing back below the support of this range as new resistance, we definitely have to exercise some risk and just proceed with a little bit of risk and caution, considering the fact that most likely, as long as we're going to continue to hold below this green line, I think that this sets us in for a drop back down to about 24,000, which from where we're at right now is still a pretty decent size of move. You know, you're looking at about another 7% drop for Bitcoin. And, you know, we don't even have confirmation that that'll be the bottom yet. So I just want to keep you guys aware of that as we're watching this, as we are actually closing below the support. It's now looking pretty weak, and the potential of us actually making another leg lower is becoming greater and greater. Now, if we come over here and look at Ethereum, if you guys remember in that last update, what we talked about was the potential that this ends up being a fake out, and then we end up closing back below and kind of completing one final drop. Now with Ethereum looks weaker than Bitcoin does right now, even though they're both pretty weak. In my opinion, they're both about to lose their support. Bitcoin's pretty much already losing it right now as we speak, But when it comes to Ethereum, we've already broken support and we've made a lower low. So I believe that Ethereum is setting in for that bigger drop, and this will be, you know, kind of what we talked about in that last update, being a bigger picture A, B, and then we're going to get one more final C wave in here. So if you guys remember in that last update, we talked about this potential where this ends up being a failed support, acts as a B wave, and then that takes us into one more final shakeout leading into this wave C. And this is still what I'm leaning towards when we're watching Ethereum. Nothing has really changed. The only thing is we now have confirmation. We were unable to hold the support in the breakout, being our descending resistance. We held support for a little bit, but then we instantly closed back. Now that we're actually making a lower low, I honestly think that this is going to set up for a pretty decent sized drop that should be taking us to 1500, which 1500 on the bigger picture should be our projected bottom. That's at least where I would look to buy the dip. But I would say anywhere from this 0.5 to the 618, because what we're going to be looking at here, now that we're breaking down and getting confirmation of a top, we're looking at a 5-wave top. We're looking at 5 waves up, and we're working on our 3-wave correction right here. And I believe that that's what's coming inside of this next drop. So this final sell-off should, in theory, be the final one. And that's why, you know, with Bitcoin, I'm not entirely sure where it goes to. You know, if Ethereum is to drop all the way to this 618, it's hard to say how high of support Bitcoin will go, because Bitcoin itself could actually make a move to its 618 as well, which a 618 move for Bitcoin would be $21,500. That would be a pretty decent size of a drop. And to be honest, if Ethereum goes to its 618 and bottoms, I would imagine the Bitcoin probably doesn't go all the way to its 618. It would probably bottom around here being the 0.5, and you know, maybe in between this 0.5 and the 382, because if you guys remember, we're still working on this 25k level here, and I still think it's an important level that we need to watch for, you know, as we're coming back down into testing some of these support levels. Because here's the thing, my target at 24k is just this support cluster right here, and that's really the first level that I expected Bitcoin to kind of bounce. And then from there, you know, we might still see one more final drop before this correction is over. But I think the big picture, their first area of demand where we could expect to see a decent bounce is probably going to be around here between the 382 and the 0.5. And that's what I'm going to be watching for moving forward, just because this is a very important level of resistance. And now for the first time, we're going to be coming back down and coming into contact and acting as support. So whether it acts as support or not is to be determined. We're going to have to wait and see. But it is an important level that we need to be watching for. And so when I'm watching for Ethereum, to me, ETH looks a little bit better based off of its market structure. To me, it looks a little bit more accordingly to what you'd see in a one-wave impulse. And with ETH already basically making this lower low, I think that the next part sets in where this is the quicker drop that finishes down to this 618 and ultimately completes the C leg. And that should, in theory, complete the entirety of this correction for ETH. I don't really see it going much lower than that, although it is possible that you could see a reversion all the way back down to this 786, which if ETH goes to the 786, I'm anticipating Bitcoin to come down to the 618. And that's kind of the way that, you know, ETH and Bitcoin are going to follow each other. You know, it's not always going to be an exact thing. We can't, just because Ethereum goes to the 618 doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to, and vice versa. What I've noticed is if Bitcoin goes to a level, generally speaking, altcoins go to a lower level. But that's not always the most accurate form of analysis, considering ETH made a higher high, lowest low happened in June, and when the FTX collapse happened, it actually held a higher high, whereas Bitcoin made a lower low. So we don't always know what's going to happen, but generally what we've seen inside of prior bull runs is whenever there's an impulse and we complete the impulse and start a correction, Bitcoin generally will hold higher support than altcoins. Altcoins will come back down and hit these lower Fibonacci levels. So, like I stated, if Bitcoin is to come all the way down to the 618, I would personally be thinking that altcoins are going to be making a move down here to the 786. Does it really change anything? Not necessarily. It would just be a bigger sell-off that we would have to go through. Now, one other thing, as we're getting over here into the total market cap, I should have been paying closer attention to, because this was really giving the biggest warning sign that this was about to break down. Whereas ETH was kind of whereas ETH was hugging this resistance and kind of looking like it could break out. If we look at the total market cap, it never once was outside of descending resistance. And when we made this lower low, it was pretty much just following on par with the path that we've been on up to this point. So when we're looking at the total market cap, I think that this is important to factor, because this has already made 3 lower lows, right? First lower low, second lower low, third lower low. So we've already made 3 lower lows inside of this consolidation, whereas ETH kind of held support up here, and Bitcoin's actually been holding pretty decent support as well, although we do have a little bit more of this descending resistance on Bitcoin compared to ETH. When I'm looking at this chart, we're getting really close to that 618, and we're in fact almost on top of the 0.5 fib right now. So in the short term, like I've stated, guys, I think that with Bitcoin making either a lower low here or holding support where we're at, we're either going to see some type of a bounce off of these August highs, and it's either going to be right here, or we make one little move down to this 24K level before bouncing. But I think that that's going to be the next thing in line. When I look at the total market cap, we've had these decent sized drops, and I honestly think that with us coming down to the 0.5, we're either going to bounce off of this level, come back up into the descending resistance before making a lower low, or we could end up seeing this drop kind of heighten, come in a little bit quicker, speed up down to this 618 fib, and then kind of see the bounce back up. Those are the two scenarios that I'm watching for in the short term, and a lot of that is going to be having to do with the fact that my target at 24K is the level I think that we're going to see a bounce at. And so with it being so close to this level, with the total market cap pretty much being right at that 0.5, these are really the only two scenarios that I see fit. We're either coming in for a bounce to come back up to this descending resistance, or, you know, probably my primary option is that we get one more quicker drop that takes us around this 618 before that bounce comes in. That's the scenarios that I'm leaning towards right now. But the thing about the total market cap is it's a little bit farther along inside of this correction, and that's what tells me that, you know, even though ETH and a lot of altcoins have gone down a lot, I think that ETH itself is setting in for that quick drop that should complete the entirety of the move. So with us seeing the total market cap already trending down a lot quicker than the other markets, what that tells me is that we're probably closer to being done with this correction, because ETH has maintained the support, right? We've been inside of this consolidation holding support for a long time. So with us now actually making a lower low, I don't think that it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to take much time to finish it. I think it's going to be pretty quick and sudden. And ultimately that's what the market's telling us over here. We're either going to see one more quick and sudden drop to the 618 before the bounce, or it's going to kind of come in where we're at. But when we're looking at the shorter time frames of Bitcoin, to me, Bitcoin just doesn't look really bullish. It doesn't look like anything that wants to hold support, and we're consecutively closing below our support as it stands. So that's why I'm leaning towards a bearish outlook. Alrighty guys, now the gaming project I wanted to talk to you guys about with today is actually going to be Neo Tokyo. I've had a lot of people reach out and ask me, you know, how do I participate in this? I've been wanting to buy the NFT. I haven't been able to. I don't know where to start. And if you're asking these questions, I was in the exact same place as you, and it took me honestly a few months of trying to learn before I figured out how to actually, you know, join this project. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you're following Neo Tokyo, or if you aren't following Neo Tokyo, I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what Neo Tokyo is. Neo Tokyo is a gaming metaverse type of project. Now, by owning one of the NFTs, which is also known as a Neo Tokyo citizen, it gives you access to the metaverse. And not only the metaverse, it basically gives you access to the private Discord server. And what Neo Tokyo aims to accomplish and what it aims to be is more or less just the citadel and kind of like the Illuminati, the central focus and hub of metaverse gaming in crypto, blockchain gaming, all that stuff. There's only 2,000 total Neo Tokyo citizens, and these are Season 1 citizens, meaning these are the original first edition NFTs that were ever made, and they're worth the most. Now here comes kind of the problem with most people, is the fact that you've got all of these different things. You've got the identities, the championships, the land deeds, you have more land deeds, you have outer identities, you have item caches, vault cards, and citizens, right? So you have all of these different things, and most people don't know what they need to buy. Do I need to buy one of these to have a citizen? Do I have to buy something else? And honestly, all you really need to do, you can go buy all these separate, but for me, the best thing to do is just go and buy the citizens. You can buy the Neo Tokyo citizens, the Season 1s, but you'll have to spend a lot of money to get them, or you can go ahead and actually just buy the outer citizens, because the outer ones are going to be very similar. And you can go to the Neo Tokyo Citadel, and this will kind of show you all of the different ones that you can get. If you don't want to spend all that money, you guys can also buy a Neo Tokyo Outer Citizen, and you know, they're over half as much they're less than half as much the cost. So if you want to participate, there's different ways to get into this. It's not like you just have to own one of the first edition NFTs. You can actually buy one of the cheaper ones, and they actually have Season 2 citizens as well, and I think that those are even cheaper than these. So all that matters is you just got to go look into these. I'll link in the description all the places where you can find these. But one of the cool things that I really have found valuable about Neo Tokyo has everything to do with the founders. So the first founder was Elio Trades, and he also is building Play Imposters. He is one of the bigger guys inside of the crypto space as far as one of the people that's been building some of the cool stuff. He's another YouTuber in crypto, and he's someone that's he's someone that's a pretty smart guy. Now the other guy is actually going to be Alex Becker. And Alex Becker is somebody that I was following way before he ever got into crypto. Back in 2018, I used to watch him on YouTube for understanding how to email market. And so this guy actually taught me a lot of stuff. So when he got into crypto and then when he built Neo Tokyo, I just knew that this was going to be big because this is one of the smartest people that I know without a doubt was smart before I ever got into crypto. So now that he's into crypto, I'm full on board with anything that they are building. Now, right off the bat, guys, the token inside of the ecosystem for Neo Tokyo is called Bytes. By owning one of the first edition citizens inside of the Citadel, you're going to get access to all of the perks by joining. Now, what this aims to be is almost like the Illuminati of crypto gaming. So it's almost like its own secret society. You can participate in the launchpad projects by owning the NFT. You can actually get different whitelist opportunities. You have insider information. And, there's a lot of different perks and benefits by actually owning one of the NFTs. And it gets you access to that actual Citadel. So if you want to be able to communicate with Alex Becker and Elio Trades and ask questions amongst the community, the only way to do that is to own one of the NFTs and be on board. Now, the only way to actually participate inside of these launchpad projects is to actually own and stake 200 bytes. Now, the bytes are really cool because every single one of your Neo Tokyo citizens, it actually earns bytes. It earns you bytes. It produces a certain amount of bytes if they're not claimed, right? Because most people have already gone through and claimed them. But every single one of your Neo Tokyo citizens has a certain amount of bytes that it actually rewards you with. So by owning one of the citizens, you actually are able to earn bytes as well. And so even though, the rare citizens are going to cost a lot more and they're going to earn more bytes, you can still get one of the not so rare ones and then you can still earn a little bit from those. Now, most of them are claimed, so that's kind of obsolete at this point. But with them reworking Bytes, we've seen this big pump because they're actually getting ready to release Bytes 2.0. They've done a revision of the entire token, gone through, changed the tokenomics, and they're getting ready to re-release it and airdrop it to all of the holders. Now, I believe that this is really where we're going to start to see a lot of big movement taking place inside of Neo Tokyo. So if anybody's going to be buying one of the citizens or buying any of the bytes and trying to get in, I think that it needs to happen now because most likely they're going to be planning some announcements, and when those announcements come up, the token price and everything else is going to end up increasing as well. So for me, Bytes is a no-brainer because by owning these, I can participate inside of the launch pads that are going to be taking place in Neo Tokyo. Obviously, all of those launch pads are going to take off because it's being created by founders that are very smart, people that know what they're doing, know what they're building, and actually have the community's best interests in mind. And then with the token, with them revamping it, making the new version, I honestly just see this ecosystem as a whole benefiting. And so if you're wanting if you're wanting to actually get into an NFT project as well as a gaming project, kind of all in one, I literally do not see a better project out there than Neo Tokyo. Yes, the entry is a little bit more expensive than average NFT projects. If you want the original citizens, it's like 2.25 ETH a piece. 6.25 ETH a piece. If you want one of the outer citizens, they're less than an ETH, but it's still fairly expensive. You can actually get a Season 1 or Season 2, and I do believe that those are even less. So if you do want to find any of this information, I will link it in the description. For anybody that's been interested in Neo Tokyo, that's been asking me questions, I've had DMs from you guys asking me. So if you do have any sort of interest in joining and you want to ask more questions, feel free to comment below. Feel free to DM me. Reach out on Twitter, whatever it is. There's a ton of links in the description to follow me. You guys can also join my Discord server, download my free ebook, or copy all the trades that I take over the course of a cycle if you want to. Links are in the description to go ahead and join any of that. I look forward to seeing you guys in there. And ultimately, I just wanted to give you guys this update, to give you guys some update inside of the market with crypto, with Bitcoin and stuff, but then also to give you guys what I feel is genuinely the most undervalued NFT and metaverse project out there, and that is Neo Tokyo. So thank you all so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.